This is only the third video I've made recently with this new channel here, but I'm running into like the same wall that I ran into before. It's hard to find things to talk about that most people aren't just completely clamoring on about over and over and over again. You can go to the multitude of different channels around gaming, and everyone's either complaining or praising the same thing, or wishing or hoping about the same things, or telling you what is or telling you what isn't when it comes to, again, the same things. So I was thinking about, recently PlayStation decided to not close those two stores, and it wasn't really a big deal to me. I don't use those stores at all. And the things I've purchased on those stores long ago, I just haven't played. I don't have a PlayStation Vita anymore. I don't have my PlayStation 3. Would it be great if Sony implemented a store that had PlayStation 3 games in it available to download to your system, to your PS5? Would it be great if there were Vita games that you can download, like Uncharted Golden Abyss, that you can play on your PlayStation 5? Would it be great if they had a service like that with all of their games from PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2 to PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4 in it, that you can subscribe to, that you can download and stream just like Game Pass? That would be fantastic. They don't have that right now. Is that a big deal? No. Is Game Pass a big deal for Microsoft? Yes. And again, it's because of that perception change. And I can't stress enough, there's perception and then there's reality. So the perception change from Microsoft is a great thing. They've got these two great systems. People are buying them. They're buying that Xbox Series S, whether or not you like the idea of physical or digital. I love the idea of physical. I hate the idea of renting games, but listen, that's the future. It could be like, if I was in the 1800s and people were telling me one day there's going to be these things called cars. So, get rid of your horse. I mean, I'm going to keep the horse around for a while, but eventually I'm going to have to get with the time. So it's here, it's happening. There's nothing you can do about it. So try and find the positives in it. And the positives are, yes, a lot of things in life are expensive. This isn't. You pay up front, and you get a bunch of games that you can download to your hard drive. They are yours on your hard drive. The information is there. But if you stop paying for them, they're not yours. I get it. People like to buy a disc. They like to hold it in their hand, and they like to tell themselves, no matter what happens, this is mine. But we're in an age where as soon as you buy a game, let's say a game is 40 gigabytes or 50 gigabytes, there are patches that you need to download before you can even play the game that are almost the same size as the game you just purchased. I mean, look at Call of Duty, the number one playing game. I think it's almost 300 gigabytes at this point. So what are you going to do later on in life, 20 years from now, when you pop that disc in and it can't authenticate? Or you didn't get the latest patch before you stop playing it, and then 2-3 years later, you go to put it in and you can't do anything with it. So, I get it. I'm not trying to discourage physical from digital, but this is where we are. There's nothing you can do about it. You have to get with the program. So I think what Xbox is doing with Game Pass, and I think what Sony may do to counter that, is eventually going to bring them both closer and closer and closer together. So I think PlayStation will have their games eventually in their services, not right now, because I think they're still the number one selling piece of hardware. But look, just because a company does something like a service doesn't mean every other company in the world has to do that. There are people who love to make hardware. There are hardware companies, and there are services and software companies, and that's what they do. No matter what type of service you have, there's always going to have to be a place where you can put it, and that's hardware. You cannot have a great service and nowhere to put it. Netflix, you have to have a television, you have to have a phone, right? Game Pass, you have to have a PC, you have to have a console, you have to have a phone if you want to stream. There's always going to be hardware, and there's always going to be services. And there's always going to be companies that make great hardware and services. And then there's always going to be companies that focus more on the service while having hardware. And that's where Microsoft is. So eventually we're all arguing about things that are an inevitability. And there's nothing you can do about it except enjoy. Let me know what you think.